This episode is all about quarterbacks. We are taking a look at the 32 NFL teams heading into 2024, giving our own grade of what we think the quarterback situation is looking like and what we think they should do. So that's going to be the main part of this episode. But before that, as always, we got Amateur Hour. Episode 61. We're back. I'm Joe Wise here with Alan Jordan.
Back at it. What a great last episode.
Back at it.
That was awesome. Didn't talk to JP
that was a blast with JP. Because we were talking, I think we said it on the episode, but for anyone who didn't listen, it was by far our most just hangouty episode. It was a great time. And that's what makes podcasting fun. It's like we know JP, we keep up with them, but like even still, it's like you don't often sit down for a couple hours and catch up. And that's what makes podcasting fun. We just did it on air.
It was fun. And it was fun to rip on you a little bit with JP. We were kind of teaming up on you there in the draft.
Is that you starting to feel bad? Is that a little remorse I hear?
No. I listened to it and I was loving it.
No, I thought it was hilarious.
When you were drafting, we were just in your head. It was great. I hope that carries over to this.
I stand by it though. The one that I went to go get for you, the Airbud pick, I think was a good pick.
That was a good pick, but I don't think you would have done it if you would have been thinking about me. So maybe that helped you out a little bit there.
Well, when Christian and I did a fictional athlete draft, I still got Airbud there.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, maybe. I mean, you
Michael
didn't
Jordan,
sabotage yourself, but it's funny because I can definitely see yourself in your own head about it.
Well, y'all just went all superheroes and you're like, minus the superpower. And
that's why I laid the ground rules at the beginning. I said no superpowers.
No, I know. It's just I don't watch cartoons. I wasn't going to follow that. That was mostly
I don't watch cartoons.
Yeah, I'm better than.
But what's your favorite cartoon
of all time?
Yeah,
Tom and Jerry, probably. Scooby Doo.
Ooh, Scooby Doo.
Just the classics.
Yeah. Okay. When's the last time you sat down and watched a cartoon?
It's been a minute.
Hey man, we need to get you back on the tune.
I used to have a thing about animated shows.
Really? Like you just,
especially like comedies.
You were against them?
Not like morally opposed to them. I just didn't like them as much. Like Family Guy.
Joe
Simpson.
has a vendetta against animated shows.
Yeah. I'm not into the anime.
What about SpongeBob?
I mean, I think it's funny, but
you're not gonna sit down and watch it.
I can't remember the last time. I think high school's the last time I watched one.
Are you talking like you don't like South Park and Family Guy and that stuff?
Yeah, that's more of what I was talking
I'm
about
with you on that. I don't enjoy those either.
Yeah.
But like a good old kid cartoon, like
those
Batman
are funny.
Or dude, Arthur. Dude, hit me with the after school Arthur every day.
When I was a little kid though, I would still hit the Adam West Batman instead of the animated Batman.
That's fair.
And then obviously Christian Bale ones.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you watched cartoons at some point in your life.
Nah, it's hard no. If it's animated, don't watch it.
Ever since
now,
being a little
like
kid,
Disney
Joe's
movies,
never watched a cartoon.
I did go see Frozen 2 in the theater by myself though.
You would hate cartoons but love Frozen. That's such a Joe thing.
And Moana, all the new Disney movies.
They're good.
Okay. I love the animated movies. I don't love the animated TV shows as much. I don't know why. Doesn't make sense.
Interesting.
I'm a weirdo. What can
Reasonable.
I say?
I'll give you that. Reasonable.
Is it?
Like you want to sit down and watch a movie cartoon, but you're not getting it. It's hard to get invested in cartoon shows because they usually don't have like a storyline like a normal TV show does. As much.
Scooby-Doo though.
Scooby-Doo does.
Solve it this time?
Yeah.
Are they going to solve it this time? Who knows?
They always solve it.
Amateur Hour tradition. Did you do anything goofy this week?
I had a pretty clean week overall. I don't think I did too much goofy stuff. Did you?
You didn't? You didn't have a gas station interaction?
So that wasn't me doing something goofy. That was somebody else.
I just saw that in the notes, and so I pulled it up.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So that was actually 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to bring it up. Glad you did. So I'm at lunch, walking into this gas station that I go pretty frequently to get an energy drink to pick me up for the rest of the day. I walk in the door, and the lady, the cash register, pops her head out, and she says, "Oh, dude, what did she say?"
You sound like Jameis Winston right now.
She said,
what my trainer said. What he said?
To be prepared.
Oh, yeah, he said to be prepared.
She said to be prepared. So I open the door. She pokes her head out from the cash register and says, "Oh my God, are you serious?" And just like shouts it in my face, and I'm like, and she says, "Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I thought you were someone else." She just screams in my face. Totally didn't mean to do it. And
that's just how we greet everyone here.
That's what I thought. I was like, yes, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get a little afternoon pick me up, like some caffeine.
Was she trying to like overcompensate afterwards?
Are you serious? And then later that evening, the same gas station, oddly enough, got robbed. So I wonder if she yelled at somebody and they just didn't like it.
Interesting.
Matters into their own hands. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that was weird. Probably no relation between the two, if I had to guess.
But interesting enough.
Yeah. Yeah, threw me off for sure.
Crazy X, maybe? She thought you were a Crazy X coming in. Crazy X comes and then robs the gas station afterwards.
That sounds like a Florida man story for sure.
That does.
We need to hop back on Florida man stories since I'm down here.
It's the off season. Should we do it next week? You want to make up one? I'll guess.
Yeah, we should do it.
I like it.
You know the one, I think y'all talked about it before I was on. There was one that was like a bulldozer, like breaks into a Walmart.
Yeah.
That was like right here in Gainesville.
No way.
Yeah. Dude broke.
It was an excavator.
Yeah, it was an excavator. He broke into Walmart, and then apparently he ran around with was it a chainsaw or something crazy like that he stole from Walmart? Insane. I don't know what it was. It was nuts. So next time I hear of a good story around, I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, because the gas station one is like a tame Florida story.
Also,
I want to apologize to anyone listening. My voice sounds terrible because I am yet again sick, which is just stupid.
That's okay. Mine always sounds a little nasally, so it's okay.
Mine always sounds terrible too.
We both need to get on that Flonase.
I started using some vitamin D, like doctor recommended.
Right. Still got sick?
So. No, well, yeah, this was like a day before I got sick, so I don't know if that's enough
probably
to get
probably not long enough.
The vitamin levels up. I don't know how that works. Is it like a vitamin bank in your body?
Yeah, it kind of takes a little time for it to build up there, for sure.
Well, anyway, my immature moment. This wasn't even that. It was pretty amateurish, but it wasn't, real life application kind of crazy. But my brother and his family were up this weekend, and he brought his old Xbox One, left it so I could start playing some Madden. We're gonna hop online, start playing some. But we were playing, so we went back. We were playing. This was last night. Last night against each other, and I've got the ball into the game, turning out the clock. 49ers, of course. It's got like a minute left. I get a little ambitious and take it to fourth down. And it's like 4th and inches. And so I'm like, I'm going to do a fullback dive with use check. And I have a bad habit of always sprinting. And I sprinted straight into the back of my center. And for about a second and a half, I couldn't get off.
Oh.
And then I get tackled behind the line of scrimmage and lose the game.
That was at the very end of the game?
Yeah, that's like what cost me the game. There were a wide open hole. And I just missed it and sprinted straight into the center's back.
Dang, dude. That's tough.
It was pretty amateur.
Who was he playing with?
He was the Ravens.
That's a good matchup.
It was a good matchup.
It's a coveted Super Bowl matchup. Dude, I lost a game very similarly to that last week against my roommate. He was playing with the Ravens. I was playing with the Dolphins. And I don't know if he had the sliders up or what was going on. I could not stop his passing game. He would just Hail Mary every play just about and put it over the top. But I was keeping up. Dolphins offense is good. And so there's about 20 seconds left. I score a touchdown. I'm down by 7. And, I picked Dan Campbell as my coach. I'm going for it. I ran it with Mostert, got to the inch line, didn't get it. And, that hurt, man.
It's a tough way to lose.
I'm right there with you. Tough way to lose.
Amateurs. That's why we're undrafted.
I still think he had the sliders on. Dude, speaking of Dan Campbell, I heard a crazy Dan Campbell story this week. So Jared Goff was saying that Dan Campbell was giving a fired up speech in the locker room, and one of his teeth flew out onto the floor. And he said Dan Campbell hardly broke stride at all, just picked his tooth up, shoved it back in, and kept talking, and never mentioned it again.
Wait, what like fake teeth?
I guess he has a fake tooth. St. Brown confirmed it. They asked him about it too, and he was like, yeah, that definitely happened.
Dude, Dan Campbell is the man.
Fake teeth, the man. Doesn't care if they fall out.
Dude, I love that. What a guy.
That's my coach.
Well, let's keep it rolling, I guess, because we're going to talk about all 32 quarterbacks. So that could take a minute. So in an effort of time, because I don't know why I'm caring about. Oh, because I'm about to go edit this. That's why I'm worried about time. But let's listen to Iceman.
What's up, everybody? This week's Unsung Hero goes out to a woman who has held a record for a pretty long time. So if you've been following college basketball, you're fully aware of who Caitlin Clark is, whether it be the flop when somebody stormed the court or the fact that she can just hit a shot from absolutely anywhere within the building. Caitlin Clark just passed Kelsey Plum as the all-time leading scorer for NCAA women's basketball history, and she's closing in on another great South Carolinian, Pete Maravich, at 3,667 points. She will likely pass him this year, whether it be during a tournament run or prior to. However, I want it to be put on the record today that Caitlin Clark will have no chance of passing the true women's all-time leading scorer. You see, the Association of Intercollegiate Athletics for Women was an organization that predated the NCAA era. And during that time, at a little college right up the street from Columbia, called Francis Marion University, a woman named Pearl Moore dropped a incredible 4,061 points during her career. Pearl Moore has now held this record since the 80s, and she still lives in Florence to this day. The basketball center there is named after her. And all I can say is that no matter what Caitlin Clark does, it's about time we start giving Pearl Moore a little more attention. You see, she's not only giving back to the game, but in 2011, she was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame, and in 2021, the James Naismith Hall of Fame as well. And so it's about dang time that we put Florence, South Carolina on the map and give the kudos to this week's real unsung hero, Pearl Moore.
Pearl Moore, Florence, South Carolina. You know who else is from Florence?
Were you born in Florence?
No, not me, brother. The future.
My wife was.
Caitlin was?
Yeah, she was born in Florence.
Oh, I forgot about that, actually. No, the future was born in Florence, or is from Florence. Goggles.
The future.
Lenore Sellers, Goggles.
Goggles.
South Florence
season,
High School.
So
the next man up who's going to take South Carolina where it needs to be.
Dude, this is the best time of Carolina football, where you're looking at all the potential and all the positives that are coming from next year. None of the bad news has really hit. You've already processed the bad news from the season, transfers, first window, second window, I guess.
I used to get so excited every single year growing up. I would go to the store, get those little magazines that like preview the season that have, like the recruiting and stuff. Me and my dad would be all on top of recruiting. And then first 3 weeks hit and you're like, all right, well, there's always next year.
And this is the golden hour of there always being next year is right now that we're in. Mm-hmm. It's golden hour. And so let's enjoy it because obviously we're going to win a national championship. But if we don't, in this moment, I am.
We'll enjoy it right here. That's what we can do.
Right here.
But this is the year.
Obviously. And then if not, obviously we'll have a lot to build upon for the next year.
Yeah. If we underperform, we always have a lot to build on.
Overpromise, underdeliver.
And our players usually do pretty well in the NFL, so there's something there.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, that's really delivering. Shout out Debo.
Right.
All right, 2-minute drill. Should we hit it?
Let's hit it.
All right, starting the clock. You're up.
All right, so up first, Arkansas pitcher Hagen Smith struck out the first 15 batters he faced in a game against Oregon State. 15 batters in a row.
Dirty.
17 total, which ties the SEC record. Wow.
Oh, that is insane. Sticking with baseball, Cody Bellinger finally signed a deal with the Cubs. So it's a 3-year deal worth, I think, $80 million. So glad they got that squared away before spring training. Then Zach Wilson has been given permission by the Jets to seek a trade. Don't really know what that means, but I'm assuming he's not going to be around next year.
Max Strus hit a game winner for the Cavs over the Mavericks this week. Just a dream probably a dream since he's a little kid. 3/4 court, just swishes it to win the game.
A 59-footer, I believe.
Long boy.
And then Ohtani homered in his Dodgers spring training debut because, of course he did.
Classic.
That's the way it works with him.
BYU rallies from a 12-point deficit to beat number 7 Kansas, 76-68. Indy, Kansas is 19 home winning streak. 19 game.
It's a lot of games.
Streak.
19 games.
19 games.
And then I don't know if you've seen this, but the MLB jerseys, it's, I guess, Fanatics making the Nike ones. It's been a total mess. Like the stitching's been all wrong and they're like see-through and it's just been goofy looking. And they redid it and made a cheaper one or cheaper looking one that was printed on instead of stitched on. The names are smaller and that kind of stuff. And apparently the Royals were like, you know what? Can we have the original ones? And they said yes. So that's noteworthy, I suppose.
Nice.
And then the Chiefs have released MVS to save $12 million in cap space. Clock it. 15 seconds left.
We kind of covered a lot there.
Yeah. It's starting to be more natural.
Yeah, that was nice and quick. Quick hitters. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about all of them. But
you got any questions?
Any questions? We'll give you some
Any
answers.
questions? Sorry, the 2 minutes are up. You have 15 seconds of questions.
No, I just want to mention those jerseys look like they got them off of AliExpress.
So bad.
Or Timu or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
They're
so bad.
I really hope they just
That's
all
crazy.
go back to the regular ones.
I mean, there are supposed to be these new jerseys that are more like flexible, lightweight. I don't know. I don't understand why the stitching is so bad on it too. Like I get why it's see-through, I guess.
I guess they're just using less fabric. But is it because the players wanted? It's because they like felt hot in the jerseys, right?
Yeah, I think like the jerseys themselves. That's what I'm saying. Like I get why they would be maybe like problems with them being see-through if they're trying to make them lighter and stretchier and all that kind of stuff. But the stitching on them, it's like mismatched letters. Everything's just off with it.
It looks like the little the shirt jerseys you would get at the store.
Yeah,
kind of like that. Anyway, that's enough.
Or a homemade craft.
Right.
Oh, anyway. All right.
NFL quarterbacks. Only 30 weeks till the season starts?
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
We should hit one a week. So this is our look at the teams, their situation coming from this year, moving into next year, and then our expert, undrafted opinion on what we think the team should do heading into next year, and then a letter grade on it too. So some of these, some of mine personally, I'm like, I don't think it's actually going to happen, but I think it would be a sick move if it does. So that's like the groundwork for it. But starting with Arizona, I guess we'll go alphabetical order. Obviously, you've got Kyler Murray. He missed most of the season, but was 3-5 as a starter with just under 1,800 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 picks. Also rushed for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he signed, in 2023, he had signed the 5-year, $230 million deal. So it's kind of locked in. I think they have like the 4th pick right now in the draft. So my suggestion is, obviously they're locked in with Kyler Murray. You get Marvin Harrison Jr. maybe. Get a wide receiver number 1.
Do you think he's still there, 4th pick though?
I don't know.
I mean, yes, that's totally different. But if he's there, I think that's a great pick.
Or maybe you trade up a little bit to get him. All in all, my letter grade too, and then I'll get your thoughts, is B-, because I think it's like Kyler's like he can definitely ball out. I think we forget that all in all. But
to be honest, I didn't even think of him when making my quarterback list. He's probably close to top 15.
Yeah, I'd probably put him at like 18 without thinking through. That was my gut sense.
Yeah.
So I was like B-.
I give him a B. I think Kyler Murray's a B. Just based on last year, not really not having a full year. He played decent. I think he has a lot of potential though. We'll see.
So you giving it a B, sticking with Kyler Murray?
Yep. I'm sticking with Kyler Murray.
Sweet. Love that.
For sure.
All right, Falcons. This is where it gets interesting. Desmond Ridder started 13 games. Heineke started 4 games. They have the 8th overall pick. I think this is one of the big question marks moving into 2024. With the number 8 pick, are you going to have a good enough quarterback? Do you trade up? Do you try to go a vet? I don't really know. I'm giving a C as the situation because it's like they have potential. They haven't done any damage really, but they also don't have anything optimistically right now at quarterback's house. So I'm like, C feels right, like average there. My suggestion is, and they'd probably have to trade up some, but trade up just a little bit and get Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that would be a great move.
Jaden Daniels and Bijan, that could be nice.
Yeah, that would be good. Falcons, yeah, they got to do something. And I think you got to start with a young guy. They have a lot of pieces there offensively. Pitts, Bijan, they can make and the NFC South it's the NFC South.
It's wide open.
You could win it.
Yeah.
You can win it this year. That makes me wonder, do you try to get a vet then?
That's what I was wondering. Would you rather, or do you get a vet for a year or two and try to draft someone at maybe 9?
I mean, you could probably do both.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning. Where
because Desmond Ridder is not the future of that franchise.
No. Raheem Morris, I think he even said, I haven't confirmed this is right, but I saw in a press conference, they were like, what do you think about quarterback situation or whatever? Is like, well, if the quarterback situation was a little bit better, I don't think I'd be here right now. AKA, he ain't going Desmond Ridder.
Oh, jeez.
Brutal.
I wish we had JP on this week because he's a Falcons fan, so I'd like to hear his take on it. Maybe they trade for Zach Wilson.
Dude, I hear Jets quarterbacks are the most sought after possession.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel like it would be a good idea to trade for a vet and get a young guy.
Yeah.
For the Falcons. That would be a team that I feel like it would make sense. I'm usually not a huge fan of taking a quarterback super early, but in this situation...
Yeah, but that's just the model that people do. It's dumb.
In this situation where you don't really have a true starter, think that'd be wise. Drake May
could be a good one too.
Drake May could go there.
There are definitely some good quarterbacks I think you could get at 8.
Yeah.
Or past that. Next up, the Ravens. This is a softball, one of the few softballs we have. Obviously, Lamar Jackson signed a 5-year, $260 million contract back last May. So locked in, won his second MVP. You can question playoffs, whatever. I'm giving them an A+ in their situation right now. Like, you got a top 4 quarterback, hands down.
Yep, A+. And their backup plays very similarly to Lamar Huntley.
Yeah.
So,
you giving it A+ too?
Yeah, A+.
Yeah, easy. Another softball, the Bills. Josh Allen passed for 4,306 yards, 29 touchdowns, 18 picks. Led him to the AFC divisional round. He's locked up in a contract that runs through 2028. Yeah. So once again, you got an elite quarterback locked up for a number of years, A+.
Is Kyle Allen still their backup?
I think he might be up this year.
If Kyle Allen is their backup, I'm giving them an A+ because that's just a great name.
You get 2 Allens and you're Allen.
Also, Kyle Allen is he hasn't really done much in the NFL, but he's pretty talented. So I think that's a solid backup.
Like that.
Plays similarly to Josh Allen. I'm giving an A+ there.
Panthers. Bryce Young. Obviously not the most breakout rookie season that people hoped. Ended up with 11 touchdowns, 10 picks. You've got Canales, always forget how to say his name. He's got a good track record. Obviously, quarterback coach in Seattle with Geno, and then what they did with Baker in Tampa Bay. I'm still going to give it a D+. I think Bryce Young has potential. I think they can work. You still got Tepper. He's still the owner of the Panthers, which is going to be brutal. And there are just so many other pieces, and there's nothing that I've really seen that gives me confidence that the Panthers are going to build those out. So it's hard to separate Bryce Young from the Panthers, but the entire situation is maybe optimistically a C-.
Yeah. Are you grading it based on the entire situation together or just the quarterback room? Because that changes.
I'm saying like the quarterback room and the fit for the team, and in some cases the amount of investment that's going into a quarterback versus the return you're getting on it. And so like I should have elaborated a little bit more. With Bryce Young, I think that he could be a lot better quarterback than we've seen. However, I think he's one of those quarterbacks that needs good pieces around him. He's going to be like a quick, good decision maker. Like take him on the 49ers. I think he could be a great fit there. But he's not an Anthony Richardson that can just go out and be physical and get yards. You know what I mean?
No, that's very fair. I feel the same way against Bryce Young. I think he has a lot of potential, but realistically, the last year at the Panthers was probably an F. And
yeah,
I think if you look at potential, maybe C, but I would stick him at a D right now overall.
I mean, he wasn't terrible. He threw 10 picks, which is not that bad for a rookie season. but he only threw 11 touchdowns. And I think that there wasn't the ability to just make plays out of nowhere.
Right.
Which is fair. Like, not a lot of people have that.
Yeah, and I'm not even ripping on Bryce Young by saying that. I think Bryce Young could be a really good quarterback. But
I just don't know if it's.
I don't know about on the Panthers right now. They got to go get a wide receiver.
Yeah, and no line.
They got a lot of work to do.
I'm going D+ because I'm trying to be optimistic.
I'll go D.
That's fair. So the Bears. This is an interesting one because obviously you got Justin Fields. He was pretty good as a starter, but they also have the number 1 pick. Thanks to the Panthers being questionable in their decision making.
Terrible.
So what I think going into 2024 is that they need to trade the number 1 pick and stick with Fields. Not saying that Fields is like necessarily the answer for the future, but I think that what you can get from number 1 allows you to build the rest of the team out. You still got 2 more years with Justin Fields, and at that point, if it doesn't work out, the rest of your team's built, and you just get a new quarterback to come and play. I think Caleb Williams, if you go with him, you're losing the opportunity to build the rest of the team out, and likely doing just the lateral move from Justin Fields, is my opinion.
I 100%
and then
agree.
resetting the clock 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty lateral move between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields is one of the top quarterbacks right now, but I think he's a decent quarterback. And I think if you put a good system around him, he's going to do well enough. Kind of like the 49ers system they have going on right now, you know?
Yeah. It's almost as if NFL is a little different than high school and college, and you don't just get a quarterback come in that completely changes the team.
Right.
Almost like you need some more pieces.
Yeah. And that also partially comes from the fact that I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a great NFL quarterback. I know a lot of people are high on him. I'm not. I wouldn't take him number 1 overall because, again, I think it's going to be a pretty lateral move, especially at the beginning. You know, like hasn't been in the NFL yet. It's going to take him a couple years, and then you still don't know. So I'm going to stick with Justin Fields. Maybe trade it away. If anything, maybe pick Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a generational talent.
I'm with you there. So I'm going to grade them. This is tricky because if I'm just talking about Justin Fields, I think I would probably give it a C+, B- range. But I'm going to inflate it a little bit because of the draft position they have to work with. And so I'm almost going to like factor that in. I know that's probably not the rules that we set, but I'm going to give it a B-.
B-?
Yeah.
Yeah, based on Justin Fields' play last year, I think I'm going to give him a C+. I know they're in a good range, and I know C+ and B- are very close, but I got to bump it down to a C just based on the way he played last year.
Completely fair.
But I think he does have some good upside.
I'm with you. And especially if you build the rest of the pieces.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, Bengals. Easy one again. Burrow, he's locked in through 2029.
He'll be
the
here.
only question mark, I guess, is him coming back from injury. Was injured, obviously, a little bit his rookie year. This year, there's a little bit of injury prone, but I mean, easily top 5 quarterback. I think higher than that, but A.
Yeah, and
Solid
Jake
A+.
Browning played really well as a backup this year. I think your quarterback's good. Quarterback room is good. I'm giving him an A+.
I'll go, what did I put down? I think I gave them
an
A. I would have said A+, but I'm just like the question mark of Burrow coming back from injuries and the other 2 injuries he's had.
That's fair.
Next up, the Browns. Another questionable decision-making team.
Man.
So they had, in 2023, 5 different starting quarterbacks. And then obviously, Perv Boy Watson still has 3 years left on his $230 million contract.
Still maybe the wildest contract move I've ever seen in anything. Not even in football. Is this guy ever going to play again? I don't know. Let's hand him a record deal.
Is he in legal trouble? I don't know.
Could he go to jail for a few years and not be able to play for us?
I don't know. $230 million. Guaranteed.
Let's pay him. Let's give him some money. Seems like a good guy.
Man. So dumb. So dumb. He still obviously has talent and stuff. I don't know. He hasn't looked at all even close to the way he looked with the Texans. He's been hurt a lot. I think going into 2024, though, you still got to stick with him. Like you've got the handcuffs on from the amount of money that you gave him. So I'm saying stick with Deshaun Watson, try to get one healthy season, but C-, because I am not super optimistic and you are financially locked in.
Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of options. Maybe you call Joe Flacco again.
Yeah.
Is he going to hang around? He's not hanging around as a backup, right?
I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to sign.
Deshaun Watson honestly is bound to have something happen this year where he doesn't finish the season. So Joe Flacco, just keep your cell phone on you. You might be making another playoff run. Hopefully next year.
I would have given him a
better.
D something, but thought he would like that too much. What's your letter grade?
Well, I was gonna do that too, but I can't now. Oh man, I'll go. He's a decent quarterback.
Yeah,
and he has a lot of upside too. I just don't know that we're ever gonna see it again. Like he played really well at the Texans, but that player seems to be gone. We haven't seen him in years. I'll give him a C.
I like it. Cowboys. Obviously, you cannot watch anything sports related without seeing the Dak Prescott conversation going on. My opinion is he's under contract right now, I guess, through 2026. You stick with Dak Prescott. I think you and I have both said personally, for Dak, it's a better move to get out of Dallas, but he's a great quarterback. You're not going to replace him with someone better. I'm giving them, though, a B-, though, not because of Dak Prescott, just because I feel like the way that Dallas is set up with it, it's like you're capping his ceiling, and I don't know, it's almost like a toxic room around it. So it's just, I don't know. It's questioning.
It's definitely a toxic room. We've seen, what was it? Who was that was coming out? Was it it was the Diggs family. Kind of coming out saying some stuff. I think it was CeeDee Lamb's mom saying some stuff. Somebody in Dak's family was
and
saying
then Mike,
something.
his brother, or something.
I agree. I feel like we have talked about it before. I think somewhere else would be better personally for Dak. I think he would maybe play somewhere else, but I think Dak has done a heck of a job the last couple of years, and he does have pieces around him. So I think if they can fix that, they're still a good team, man. They got a lot of good players. I think it's just the problem with there's probably something going on in the locker room is what it sounds like. And with the Cowboys, that's probably really easy to happen because you get more scrutiny than any other team. So that's maybe fair. I'm giving them an A. Stick with Dak. I think Dak has played great last 2 years, really. He was almost like MVP caliber last year. But he still gets so much hate. He still gets so much hate.
Yeah, the only knock against him are the big games, the playoffs, that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's not just the quarterback. It's not like he's played horrible in those games. He did not look good against the Packers.
And I don't even know that that's on Dak, man. That dates all the way back to Tony Romo. Romo was
again. Maybe my grade actually would be, because what did I give them? I gave them a B-. It probably would be an A- if it wasn't in Dallas. The Dallas factor took it down a letter grade.
Yeah. I'm going to give him an A just because of Dak. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think he's playing well.
Like that. Okay, Broncos. Probably not going to be Russell Wilson because they benched him for the final 2 games. He still had like 3,000 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It wasn't a bad year. Got benched the last 2 games. I'm assuming that's a clear sign it's not going to be Russell next year. So it's like, what do you do? Do you draft someone like potentially Bo Nix, McCarthy, ride with Stidham, get Sam Darnold, Jimmy G, someone like that? My opinion is you get Sam Darnold. He looked a lot better on the 49ers. You can come in, get him good deal, 1-2 year deal, and then you draft JJ McCarthy. Let him develop for a year or 2, take over as the starter in maybe 2026. It's my opinion. C's the grade.
Do you think they benched him because they're just done with him, or do you think they benched him because they were done with him last year? What do you think?
I think because they were worried about him, because the PA came out about this. They were worried about him getting hurt, and they wanted him to remove the injury clause in his contract. I don't know. I just think that it wasn't a great fit in Denver. I think he's played way better than he gets credit for.
I do too. Yeah. I think if that's I think he could play there. I think I would give him another year there, but it sounds like they probably are done with him. I agree trading him away. I don't have anybody in mind in particular that I would trade him for. I give it a C. No, I'm giving it a D. Actually, sounds like a toxic relationship there.
What's up with this toxicity? All right, Lions, Goff. He has one more year in his contract. Had a great year last year. NFC Championship. B+ position. Right now, I'd say. It could go A- either. I'm giving A as like making it a little harder to get, I'd say. And so I would put him at like the top of the next wave of Rams.
If you're in my top 10, you're getting an A. Let me just double check.
He's just not in my top 10,
Goff
but
is
we'll talk
getting
about
an
that
A.
later.
Giving Goff an A. He's got a good coach behind him. He's got a good team behind him. Yeah. Great situation. They can make another run. I'm giving him an A.
I think they will go another run.
Think so too. Hope so.
Okay, Packers. One of the most boring franchises when it comes to quarterbacks because it's looking like they have another quarterback who's going to be a potential Hall of Famer and play for another 15 years in Green Bay. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
I'm not willing to give him that just yet, but it does feel like that's going to happen.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's what I said, potentially.
Yeah. I think right now for me, I got to hover around a B. I think I got to give him a B. I think Jordan Love.
I gave him an A-.
That's fair. He looked really good. Small sample size. I want to see it again.
That is true, but the way that he came back after the bye when he threw one interception the last however many games before the playoffs, nuts. Okay, Texans, CJ Stroud, great rookie season. To your point you just said, obviously there are some question marks going into this sophomore year. It's going to be a sophomore slump, something like that. I'm going to give them an A. I think that he's done a great job, obviously showed great potential. I think DeMeco Ryans is a great head coach. Seems like they have a good culture there. The team's behind them. It feels like they're in a great position to build on.
Giving them a B+, just because the potential for a sophomore slump, but CJ Stroud looked awesome. They have some really good young receivers, good offense overall. B+, just for the fact that, sophomore slumps do happen, but once teams get more film on them and things, but real solid quarterback room. They don't need to do anything there, obviously.
Exactly. Nothing. Our suggestion for the last three, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, Colts now, the Indianapolis Colts.
Hold on, pause. I love how you said you were making A's harder to get, and then since then I haven't given one A and you've given two.
Ooh.
You've only given A's since then.
You caught me. Let's see. I don't even know if that's true.
It is.
Let's see. No, that's true. I was going to say, I don't even know if I am making it harder to get. I only have 2 more A's left.
Nice.
But anyway, the Colts. Richardson will be in his second year of a 4-year contract. He's reportedly throwing again, which is good because I think it was a shoulder injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looked good in those 4 games. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. I'm going to give it a C+. I think you stick with Anthony Richardson, obviously. Would love to see him do well. I think he's got a high floor. I remember saying that before the draft. His ceiling is a little bit more questionable, but it's pure athletic abilities. He's going to be able to make plays from running, even if the whole play collapses. It's the flip side of Bryce Young. Or not flip side, the inverse.
Anthony Richardson looked electric at the beginning of the year when he was there. I'm still not totally sold on him just based on how he played at Florida. He was very up and down at Florida. I know it's a totally different game. Like you're saying, a lot of upside, just unproven. But on the flip side of that, their backup, Gardner Minshew, that's one heck of a backup, man. He's got the hair, all of it.
Ultimate football guy.
Yeah, ultimate. What score did you give him? What grade did you give him?
I gave them a C+.
I think we're going to agree with you on this one. I want to give a B, but just I can't trust Anthony Richardson quite yet.
That's my thought there. Especially, 4 games is just not enough of a sample size. Like Will Levis looked really good his first couple games, and then we see. I don't know. Definitely a lot of things I would be optimistic for if I were a Colts fan.
Yeah.
Jags, T-Law, the last generational talent that's now been in the league for a couple years. He threw for 4,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks. Obviously, the Jags are going to keep him as the starter moving into next year. I'm giving them, this was an interesting grade for me. I'm going to go B. I wanted to go B minus.
Yeah.
He has showed like burst of a ton of talent, questionable decision-making, accuracy hasn't always been there. I mean, he's good and not all that. That's kind of like my...
Yeah. He'll be the starter next year, obviously. They don't need to do anything there. I'm giving him a C.
I respect that.
The team around him, I think we talked about this at the beginning of last year. We were looking at their offensive roster, and we're like, man, he really might take off this year. 21-14? Dude, that's not collapsing. That's not it. C, and that's as high as I can go.
Well, here's the question. Are we treating C as average, like grading on a curve? Because if so, yeah. I think if we stack up all of our quarterbacks, we're going to find that Trevor Lawrence is in the middle of the pack for, I think, probably both of us.
C is
average. So if that's the case, a C is the right grade.
Yeah.
I'm kind of treating as like a B minus or B as an average because, I'm going to a smart school.
He's got a great situation around him in terms of players on offense. But that, I think, partially is why I'm grading a C, because he could do a lot with that. I was scared they were going to make a run to the Super Bowl because of how their offense should be, but it totally wasn't. I watched them just have to win against the Titans in Week 18. Titans had nothing to play for, and the Jags offense looked meh. They were trying to get in the playoffs.
It's just the classic example of where a quarterback's drafted and the talent. It's like, yes. Does Trevor Lawrence have a canning? Yes. Was he really good in college? Yes. Was he drafted number 1? Yes. So people always see his potential, and even though he is objectively playing middle of the pack, it's going to be like, well, but he's got that in him. We just got to give him more time. Whereas if someone's drafted later, Brock Purdy, it's like, he's going to fail. He's going to regress back.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's stupid.
And I'm not going to sit here and say Trevor Lawrence is a terrible quarterback, because he's not. He is a middle of the pack NFL quarterback right now, and that's it. Not above that. There are quarterbacks that could come in and probably take the Jaguars to the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
So that's where I'm going to stand with Trevor Lawrence. And I may have purposefully given the Colts a slightly better quarterback grade.
Ooh, he's playing chess.
Because the Jags traded away Minshew to make a little extra room for Trevor Lawrence. They thought they had Minshew and drafted Trevor Lawrence anyway when they didn't need a quarterback.
And stat-wise, you know what's happened?
They're about the same.
About the same. Also, I feel like, obviously, there's bias behind both of our shoulders right now. Yeah. We have Carolina stuff. But I think we're being pretty objective right here.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, Trevor Lawrence has more upside and overall talent than Gardner Minshew. But if you look at the stats, they're very similar. And I guess our argument is just that at that time, Gardner Minshew was playing well enough on the Jags, kind of like we're saying Justin Fields is playing well enough on the Bears, where if you add maybe another piece or trade that pick away and get another piece, you're going to be better off in the long run, because it looks like they've pretty much done the same thing they were doing with Gardner Minshew, and they wasted a number 1 overall pick.
I was literally about to say it's the exact same thing with the Bears. Yeah. It's just like with quarterbacks, it becomes the grass is always greener, because you don't want to miss out on the next generational talent or whatever the stupid thing that's going on right now.
Right.
You just don't know. But you do know that you can build the pieces and then have a good team. So anyway.
So glad we agree on this.
Me too. All right. Tricky one here. Kansas City. What do they do? You have a good quarterback with a contract that is good through 2031. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, A+. Yeah.
Move on.
Any other comments?
A+. Move on. All right, so we got the Raiders quarterback room. Jimmy G started 6 games, then he got benched for Aiden O'Connell. Jimmy G's also suspended for the first 2 games this year. What do the Raiders do, man? That's not a good quarterback situation.
The answer's got to be neither one moving forward. I think AOC is a good backup, probably. I don't think Jimmy G's it. And clearly, AP wasn't on board with Jimmy G because he benched him as like the first thing he did as the coach.
Right.
Here's my prediction. I think you get Russell Wilson here. I think it could work. You got a good run offense. There's still the pieces. They got, I think, a pretty decent O-line. Good defense, obviously. Good receivers. Josh Jacobs. Because he re-signed with them, right?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember right now what the detail with Josh Jacobs, but if he's coming back, I think it could fit well for Russell Wilson. Whereas when he went to Denver, it was just like, let's get Russell Wilson. You have no other pieces. Let's completely rebuild. So I think it's a lot better situation for him. I think it could be a good situation for the Raiders. Don't know if it'll happen, but that's my prediction for 2024.
I think that's a good move. The Raiders have enough pieces to win right now. And
Yeah.
you get a veteran that comes in. Yeah.
And they're saying they want to win right now. That's the messaging from AP and stuff. So could be a good move.
Yeah. Russell Wilson in Vegas would be kind of funny, though.
Let's ride.
Yeah. Let's raid.
Let's raid Vegas.
Vegas Nation. Let's raid.
Oh,
What a
that's tough.
great guy.
Yeah.
But I don't see him in Vegas. But I think he could do well there. So
You know, he's from Richmond.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Wow. Would you look at that?
He went to a school that one of my good friends' cousins like played in high school with him,
Dang.
like on the same team and stuff.
Do you know what college he went to before he went to Wisconsin?
Before Wisconsin, I thought was it NC State before Wisconsin? I thought it was the other way around for some reason. Dumb brain up here.
Go Pack.
Go Pack.
That's my ACC team, by the
Let's
way.
raid. Hey, because they beat Clemson.
Yep.
Okay, what do you think? You like the Russell Wilson idea?
I love that idea. I think that would be solid. I think if they could get a veteran in that room, they probably could win right now. I also don't hate they have pick number 13. I think even if you do get a veteran in the room and there's a decent quarterback still on the board, maybe take him there.
Maybe try to see what you can get right now. Maybe send Jimmy G to like Atlanta or somewhere. Could be interesting.
What would you get from Atlanta, though?
Well, if they're just trying to find like a veteran to come in, you know, maybe you just try to, I don't know.
Heineke?
Just Heineke. No, you don't get a quarterback back from them. It's just like either some money to work with, free up cap space, something like that.
Yeah.
All in all, this is a tricky grade for me to give because current situation, I think it's got to be in a D somewhere. Like you don't have any good options with Jimmy G or AOC, in my opinion. If, you know, Russell Wilson comes, could be better. But I mean, I think if that happens, it's a different grade. I'm going to give it a C minus. No, D plus. D, just solid D.
I'm going straight D.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yep.
Okay.
Next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert's there. I don't think we're making any moves other than him. Last year, he passed for 3,134 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he missed the final 4 games with a broken finger, but I don't think that's too much to come back from.
No, and it was very much let's protect our future because he's under contract through 2029, $262 million. You got Harbaugh coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, I would be very optimistic as a Charger fan going into next year. So I'm going to give it an A minus. Because I think the ceiling's really high.
Yeah. I do feel a little bit more comfortable with the new situation with Harbaugh. Chargers have a bunch of offensive pieces. I'm going to give them a B minus.
That's fair.
Stick with Herbert.
Rams. This one's interesting. You've got Matthew Stafford. He's entering his 16th season. He's got 4-year contract that runs through 2026. I mean, he's still... In some ways, the last few years, well, he missed 9 games last year because of a spinal contusion. This past year was doing really good. Past that, he's playing some of his best ball in LA. My thought is you obviously stick with him a few more years and then you draft someone to develop under him. That just seems like the kind of move that McVay would do. You're thinking ahead. You got someone like Stafford. So I'm saying, ride with Matthew Stafford, draft Bo Nix. I'm giving it A minus because Stafford's really good, but obviously it's getting old. The potential's really good to develop. Hopefully, a next franchise quarterback under him.
I like it. Stafford's been playing really well. He's still got a few years under his belt not under his belt to go for sure. Bo Nix will be
yeah, he's got 16 years under his belt.
Yeah, 16 years under his belt. A few more to go. Bo Nix will be a good fit there, I think. I wonder how Bo Nix is going to do in the NFL, though. I like Bo Nix, but I don't think he's going to do that great in the NFL.
To be honest, I don't know if Bo Nix is the right pick for it.
Yeah.
That was just like guessing at where they are on the draft board, who they could get. You know, I don't know any of that stuff, but that's my prediction.
I'm going to say Spencer Rattler.
I have him going somewhere else. That's why I didn't do that.
Oh, okay. I think this will be a good move for him. I don't think they're going to necessarily do that.
Well, no, what I'm meaning is like, what I'm saying is like my prediction, or one of the other teams I'm saying drafts him. So I couldn't say that for both of them as my suggestion.
Oh, okay. For the record, I'll say every team should draft Spencer Rattler because I think he's going to pan out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going Spencer Rattler on this one, actually.
I like it. Could be a good one. A really good one. Imagine him with McVay.
Yeah, I think if you give him a few years to develop, he's going to be really good. A lot of talent. With what he did behind South Carolina's spotty, to be nice about it, O-line last year was crazy. Super high completion percentage while getting pressured every single drop back. He's going to do well in the NFL.
What was your letter grade for it?
A. Give it an A. Got Stafford in my top 10. So I got to give it an A.
All right. You can tee up this next team.
To tee up this next team, all you got to do is look right behind me. That's who's there. That's who's staying. That's an A. Tua's going to take us there. I know there's questions about Tua's close game ability. I think he silences those this year. This past year,
I would love to see that.
This past year was, 2 years ago, he had those concussions or those head injuries that one of them they're saying wasn't a concussion. Why are they saying it was a back injury? He fell over like it was a concussion for sure. I think that was affecting him last year. If you look on important plays or like bang bang plays, he was avoiding hits. And I think this year is the year that he really snaps back into it and is playing some of his best ball.
I hope you're right. I would love to see that. Everything you said, I'm on board with. I'm going to give it a B plus just because you're a little bit more optimistic than me. But I would love to see it.
Even if I'm being,
you're just saying you think it's going to happen. I'm saying I hope it happens.
Even if I'm being optimistic, though, like he still played a heck of a regular season. Crazy numbers, pretty close to MVP caliber. He did have a couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it. I just have him just outside of my top 10, though.
Right. I'm just saying why it should be an A. I'm just trying to get you to flip.
Right, but you're saying top 10's an A, and I'm saying I agree. He's right outside of my top 10.
Oh, no, that's fair. I'm interested to see who you have over him.
I hope that you're right. I hope you're right.
If you're grading on the situation at all, it's an A.
I don't want to say this, but the reason with him, it's not even the close game ability. It's just that
he won a crunch time against Dallas, who also
that is true.
Games.
It just felt like in the biggest moments, he didn't rise up to the occasion.
Which is crazy because he's the one that rose up to the occasion in Alabama's national championship over Georgia.
Right.
When he was younger.
I think that it's in there.
It's so backwards. It's in there somewhere, and I think it was the injuries that caused him to be a little more skittish this year. And it just looked like he wasn't fighting through contact at all when people were going to bring him down for sacks. I think he gets past that this year.
I hope you're right. It's just like, take Brock Purdy, for example. They didn't win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying you win every single one of them, but there was like part of him that like kicks into a higher gear when it mattered most. That's like, I'm going to fight for the extra yards. I'm going to like do these things. And I just haven't seen that from Tua. And so to me, it's hard to give it an A grade because it's like, yeah, that's great if he's doing that against comparable or inferior teams or throughout the early part of the regular season. But it's like, if when it comes crunch time, that's not happening, like the Chiefs game, it's like you fumble the snap, wasn't a great snap, but then you just fall on it. It's like you got to get up and try to make a play there.
Yeah, no, I agree. He did that this year, but I think he knows he did that.
Yeah,
I think he knows that I'm wrong. He has to know. They have to be coaching him on this. I think this year's going to be different. I really do.
I hope that you're right. I'm just telling you why I'm putting it a B+ instead of an A.
No, that's fair. It's a fair grade.
I like Tua. I want him to be an elite quarterback.
Dolphins got to win the division this year.
They got to, man. That would be huge. Okay. To my team with Spence, the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, he said he wants to finish his career there. I think you sign him back, maybe get him for 2 years, something like that. You draft Spencer Rattler right now. They don't have a 3rd round pick, but they have the 42nd pick in the 2nd round. So you draft him, you get him to sit under Kirk Cousins. I feel like Kirk Cousins would be the perfect mentor for someone like that. He's got like the good temperament, mild manners, the way, even when he was hurt, he's just constantly pulling for his teammates. I think it's a perfect situation. Like we mentioned with Spencer Rattler, he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. Elite completion percentage at South Carolina under pressure. That's my move.
It's a great move. Definitely ride with Kirk Cousins. He was cooking last year. And I think y'all were talking about it on the pod before I got on, but he's been top 5 in stats like every year that he's finished for the past few years. Not this year, obviously, because he got hurt. But
dude, he's the nickelback of quarterbacks. I think we said that. People just love to hate on him, but he's good. Everyone knows their songs.
He's the man. And I agree. He would be a perfect mentor for a new quarterback coming in. Rattler would obviously be awesome there. I'm trying to think of who else would fit in. You'd have to kind of reach to get at any of the other guys. I just think Rattler is like the perfect steal of the draft. Because he's not, nobody's going to get him top 10. But, I mean, he might fall to the 3rd round.
Yeah. I've seen some predicting 4th or beyond.
Yeah. I mean, you could easily get him 2nd round. And I think that would be a great 2nd round pickup. So, yeah, I love that too. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, though, that would still be around for it, for the Vikings.
We're co-signing that. I'm going to give it a B+ because great potential, and Kirk Cousins is awesome. Honestly, it could be an A-, probably an A-, honestly, if they keep Kirk. The reason I said B is because that's not even a guarantee. They could do a completely different direction.
Going A. I think they keep Kirk, man. I don't see them trading him.
I don't see it, but also.
Or getting rid of him.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm giving him A.
Patriots. I mean, they bench Mac Jones. Bailey Zappi's not it. I think they're going to restart with a new coach. My prediction, they have the 3rd overall pick right now. I think you get Drake May with number 3, and you got the May and Mayo combination.
Ooh, May and Mayo.
Giving it a C.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a C as well. I think you draft somebody there.
Okay, then the Saints. We'd probably ride Jameis Winston, right? Forget about Derek Carr. I mean,
I would love that.
Who wouldn't love that? If you didn't, if for some reason you wanted to ride with your investment, the how many millions? Lost $150 million that you spent on Derek Carr through 2027. That would also make sense to me, I suppose. C-. Don't really know what else to say.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go C- too. I could almost go D. It feels very similar to the Raiders quarterback situation, which is where
I'd give it a slight bump above, but very similar.
I do too. It feels very similar to the Raiders, probably because they made that trade between the two, and it just seems like a lateral trade.
All right, Giants. You obviously have Daniel Jones with 3 years left on his 4-year, $160 million contract. He started 6 games before he tore his ACL. Wasn't really looking that great before. Seemed like the 2022 breakout season might have been a fluke, almost. I'm giving them a D-. I think you still ride with Daniel Jones. You're spending a lot of money on him, so you have that tied to him. I don't know if he's the answer. And you're spending the money too, so it's just a tough situation.
Right. I'm with you there. I'm giving him a little more. I'm going to go D+.
Nice.
Yeah, you're spending a lot of money on Daniel Jones, and he's had glimpses where he's looked decent, but I don't think he's your take you to the Super Bowl guy.
You convinced me. I'm going to bump it up to a solid D. Big improvement. Jets. The probably most interesting one coming into 2024. I think it's fair to say. Aaron Rodgers threw 1 pass attempt? Yeah. Or is it 1 snap? Anyway.
It was 1 snap, right?
Yeah, 1 snap. So he's going to be 40 coming back from an injury. The biggest question mark, I think. Obviously, everyone knows what Aaron Rodgers can be, but he's still making a new team debut while coming back from an injury and being 40. I really don't know where to go with this. I'm gonna go B minus.
Aaron Rodgers could come out this year and be a top 5 quarterback. He could also tear his other Achilles, or he could be totally not mobile now that he's torn his Achilles. And I guess you could say the same thing about Kirk Cousins. But I don't know, for some reason,
there's
to me,
still an age difference between them two.
Yeah, there's that, and the fact that I think Aaron Rodgers depends a little bit more on his mobility than Cousins does. Mm-hmm. So coming back from an Achilles injury probably hurts him a little more. I'm going to give it a B. I think, again, super high ceiling, but you saw the Jets without Aaron Rodgers this past year. They weren't good. They have some pieces, but it's not on par with the Bills and the Dolphins in their division. Give him a B.
Okay. Eagles, Jalen Hurts. He's under contract through 2028. You're obviously riding with him again. This is an interesting one, and I struggled with our power rankings of quarterbacks, where to put him, because he didn't look like himself. I think he was way more injured the whole season. Obviously, the OC situation didn't work out. They have a new OC coming in. But was last year more of a fluke breakout season, or was this 2023 season more of a fluke down year with injuries, weird stuff going on? I'm giving it a B+.
That's a good spot.
There's still a question mark. Yeah.
And I think that's exactly where I'm going to go. B+. Get Jalen Hurts again, has the upside. 2 years ago, played great. This past year, he didn't play bad.
He still had 15 rushing touchdowns, which was crazy. 600 yards, 23 passing touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Good season.
Yeah. I think if you take away his rushing touchdowns, then he's a very middle-of-the-pack, mediocre C quarterback. But you add the rushing.
Take away the tush push, though, in the rushing.
Yeah, and you're taking away Jason Kelsey this year, so will the tush push still work? That's the center of the tush push. So, literally, the center. So
still some, yeah.
That's going to be interesting. We'll see. I think, for that, I would probably give him an A-, but that question mark is why I'm going to give him a B+.
I like it. Okay, Steelers. You had the combination of Kenny Pickett. He was 7-5. Mitch Trubisky. 0-2. And then Mason Rudolph, 3-0. Good enough for a combined 10-7 record. They got rid of Mitch, so it's between Kenny and Mason Rudolph. I'm saying I don't know. What do you think? I'm tossing it to you first.
I'm riding with Mason Rudolph. Kenny Pickett did not look good last year. Mason Rudolph had some glimpses of pretty good play at the end of the year there. And I think I would start the season with Mason Rudolph.
I agree. I wrote down Mason Rudolph. Here's the thing, though, with them. I'm giving them a D- grade because I think the Steelers are getting stuck into mediocrity. I think that the options are serviceable enough. They're not going to make any change or anything, but I also think that they're going to be low 20s quarterback ranking from them. Mm-hmm. And so you're almost in that mediocre land, and that's not a great place to be. And so it's serviceable. So maybe in some ways it could go C-, but I'm just
ooh,
I don't know.
You know what I would love here? I would love them to trade for Russell Wilson.
That could be a fun
I would
one.
love the Steelers to do that. Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin together, I think will be really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I mean, there's rumors it could be Justin Fields, it could be Russell Wilson, potentially could be Kirk Cousins, even Ryan Tannehill. But even Ryan Tannehill is another option where it's just why would you do that?
I don't think that
exactly
makes sense.
I agree.
I think Russell Wilson would make sense. Kirk Cousins would make sense. I don't think I would trade for who's the other person you said?
Tannehill?
No, Justin Fields. I don't think I would trade for Justin Fields if I'm them. But Russell Wilson, man, that seems to me, I think that's where I want Russell Wilson to go. The Steelers.
I think Russell Wilson is going to do better at this next team than Denver, and he still wasn't that bad. You and I have been saying that.
I had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to do really well this year, and he didn't do terrible.
Yeah, it was just
pretty middle.
Yards
of the pack.
were down, but also a lot of that was scheme based what they were doing with them.
Yeah.
But we will save that conversation and hit the 49ers. You got Brock Purdy. Obviously, He's got 2 years remaining on his 4-year, $3.7 million deal. I don't know how you don't give this an A, because you're getting a top 10 quarterback at the lowest. I think anyone that's putting him outside of 10 is being ridiculous. And you're paying less than $1 million a year for him. $1 million. It's like you can't really ask for much better than that.
Yeah, when you put it in terms of the contract, I think that's definitely true. I don't think it's ridiculous to have him outside of your top 10. I think outside of your top 15 would be crazy. I think 10 is a fine spot for him.
Okay, we'll go even. So you're getting a top half of the league quarterback with a below backup quarterback salary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great deal. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that is, you're right. You can put him outside of top 10. You've got to put him in top 15.
Yeah. Because I think Purdy's done a great job. I don't think he's, I don't know how much you're going to like this one. I don't think he's the game changer that the top 5 quarterbacks are, for sure.
I'm starting to come around on the game changer, game manager conversation.
I mean, I don't think he's a game manager. I think anybody in the top 10 of quarterbacks is a game changer, but I don't think he's on the same level as the top 5 guys. Obviously, he would be in the top 5, in my top 5 if I thought that.
I would put him, I would say in the top 4. You know what I mean? Like
you're putting him in your top 4?
No. I'm saying I don't think he's in the top 4 with the Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. To me, there's a drop off after those 4, and I put him in that second pack.
That's
you know what I mean?
Fair. In the second pack. How many's in your second pack? Like 5 or 6?
Like 7, I think.
Okay.
Realistically.
That's fair then.
So 5 was one of the hardest places for me in my power rankings. But anyway, are you going to give it, you got to give it an A. Come on.
I'm giving it A-.
A-.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting a great quarterback at a steal. Seahawks, Geno Smith, C+. It's mine. I think you've got you've got him under contract through next year. You could shop around with him. I think that he was good. You know?
Right. I think he was good is the key. Maybe another year with him, but I think they have number 16 in the draft. I love drafting Michael Penix here if he's available. Keep him in Washington.
West Coast?
Keep him in Washington
itself.
And I think he could be a really good fit there.
I like that.
That's who I want there. I want Michael Penix.
Maybe give one more year to Geno, let him develop, maybe start playing at the end of the season. I like that. I give it a C+. What are you going with?
C. Solid C.
Tampa Bay. Baker enjoyed a revival year. It was a good year for him there. I think that he stays. That's my prediction with what I think's going to happen there. If that's the case, B- probably. C+, B-. B-. He played well.
I'm right there. B-.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a 1-year thing with Baker. I hope it's not. I like Baker. I hope he does well.
You give him like a 4-year deal, 3-year deal maybe.
Yep. I think keep him around. You got Kyle Trask as your backup still, who I think has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
I like their quarterback.
I agree.
I'm going B, solid B.
Okay. Ooh, moving up, solid B. I like that. Okay, Titans, last 2. Will Levis, he started out hot. That Will Levis is my prediction, obviously. I think they're moving on from Tannehill. Will Levis started out hot the first couple games, slid back. I mean, I think that they're committing to him for another year, at least.
Right. I'm going D+ on this one. I do not trust Will Levis right now. I don't think he's necessarily a bad quarterback, but I don't think the Titans are just in a good situation overall.
I agree. The flip side is obviously like the new coaching direction. Could you bring some of the Bengals passing game in? Could Will Levis develop well with that? I'm giving it a C. A lot of that is around a question mark, though, because there are pieces that need to be built there, and it's hard to know how that's going to be handled. But I think that he could be a good fit for it, and in the scheme of it.
I think so, too. I just don't know how many good players there are around him on offense. You have an aging Nuke Hopkins as your feature guy. Henry's probably going to be gone.
Who's still nasty,
yeah, I mean,
by the
he's
way.
still really good. But how much longer is he going to be really good? I think it's going to be Nuke Hopkins is kind of on the decline. Will Levis might be on the incline. I don't know if they're ever going to catch each other at the right time, is my thought on that. He's still a beast. But aside from that, they don't really have a whole bunch.
Right. It's like, I think the reason I'm saying stick with Will Levis, though, it's because obviously you're still trying to figure out, he was a good draft pick. I think they got him in the second round last year, but still, it would be stupid to go spend money on a vet. I think it's time to move away from Tannehill. It would be stupid to draft someone because where they're positioned, you're not going to really get anyone better than Will Levis, I don't think.
No, I don't think they would either. Again, I'm not giving him that grade because necessarily of Will Levis, just that he's going into his second year, potential for a sophomore slump, and it's not like he had a CJ Stroud type rookie year. So if he slumps from there, that's not good. And then just the team around him has a ton of question marks. So not necessarily saying that Will Levis isn't the guy, but that just seems like a uncertainty to me.
I agree.
But I think they should ride with him, though.
Last team, the Commanders. You obviously had Sam Howell. He started all 17 games this year. He finished with just under 4,000 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, also 65 sacks. That's a lot. Here's where I think the Commanders, right now they're sitting in the number 2 pick. I think they end up trading up for number 1 and getting Caleb Williams. Went to high school in D.C., plus the gold and red. I think they also have Cliff Kingsbury, who was, what was he, like a passing game special? Well, I don't know, the consultant, whatever the dumb things they have nowadays. He's in Washington. I think they want him. I think the Bears, like I said, should hold on to Justin Fields, trade number 1 pick. So that's my landing spot prediction for Caleb Williams. I'm going C+ on the grade, though. I think there's going to be a ton of pressure for him coming in, and I don't think that he's going to live up to it as much.
Tomorrow on Caleb Williams?
Yeah. Either way, even if it's not Caleb Williams, they're going to get a quarterback with the second one. I think the predicted one right now is Jaden Daniels. Either way, I think it's a C+ for them, situation-wise. It's like there's always, with a rookie coming in, always a little bit of optimism, which is what gave me the plus grade. But
I'm going C-. They're going through a coaching change right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I'm going a C- here. Another one of the teams where I just don't think they have a ton of pieces around a quarterback, and if they get a young guy and try to plug him in, I think it's going to be a Bryce Young scenario. I almost want to go with D because I feel like that's almost definitely going to happen.
Totally fair.
If they draft a quarterback and expect him to play right away.
I'm so much bigger of a fan of drafting like receivers and offensive linemen early on in pieces that are going to be staples. Trying to get a vet and then getting a quarterback in the second round, late first round that can sit under and develop. To me, it's just like that is the best way to build a franchise. Just give it a little
even
bit
an
of time.
early running back.
But people want to win.
Not a quarterback.
People thought the Falcons were ridiculous for getting Bijan where they did. It's like, you don't get running backs there. It's like, why not?
Worked out for,
I don't know.
Well, I think he has a lot of potential. They didn't do a whole bunch with him last year.
That was not his
but like
fault,
what the Lions did with Jahmyr Gibbs, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Now let's do our top 15 power rankings heading into 2024. We're gonna each go 11. We're gonna break it down so 11 to 15, 6 to 10, 1 to 5. You'll go, then I'll go. So why don't you kick us off with your 11 to 15, counting down.
So am I going 15 to 11?
15 down.
All right, 11 to 15. Number 15, I got Jalen Hurts. I think if it was only passing, I would have him lower, but quarterbacks also run the ball, and he had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. I think 15 is a good spot for him. Number 14, I have Jordan Love. Played a really good end of the season, especially last year. Can he do it again? I think with the rest of the picks, you'll see that I'm giving a little more love to the guys who've been doing it for a few years and have proven themselves. And that kind of runs into my next one, CJ Stroud. Again, great rookie year. He was really balling, has a lot of good receivers around him. I think his upside is super high. Can he do it again? Number 12, Justin Herbert. They got John Harbaugh coming in. I think that's a big move, and he's got some good players around him as well. Number 11, I have Aaron Rodgers, and honestly, he could be way higher than this. He could be number 5 probably. but coming off the Achilles injury at his age, that's just a big question mark to me, especially since a lot of his game is being mobile, and also the Jets team around him. Not the best team, tough division, so I got him at 11, just outside of the top 10.
So 16, got Trevor Lawrence, number 16 at 16. 15, Jared Goff. I think he's, in a good situation at Detroit. 14, Jalen Hurts. What does he look like without Jason Kelce? Can they still do the tush push? New OC. Question marks definitely around him. But the next two, similarly, that's a tough word to say. But like you, I'm unsure where to rate them because they're coming into their essentially sophomore season as a starter. And so with new film out, what does that look like? I've got number 13, CJ Stroud. Looked great last year, but again, is there going to be a sophomore slump? And then 12, I'm going Jordan Love. The reason I gave him the edge over CJ Stroud is because obviously after the bye, he had an incredible run. And then he also just has a little bit more experience and maturity under his belt, developing under Aaron Rodgers. So giving him the edge there, but I think both of them are going to be great quarterbacks. 11, got Tua. He is an elite quarterback in a lot of ways. I want to see more of the X factor and stepping up when the game's on the line. And so I've got him outside of the top 10.
All right, my number 10, I've got Brock Purdy. Plays a really good game. Kind of similarly to CJ Stroud and Jordan Love. I'm kind of hitting on him a little bit for being a younger guy. He's only been playing for a year and a few games. I think he continues to do well, but I want to see more of it. I want to see him progress a little bit. I got him at number 10. Number 9, I have Jared Goff. I thought he operated really well in the Lions offensive system this year, and I think that continues. Number 8, got Matthew Stafford. Been doing it for like 16 years now. Playing really well with the Rams. I'd say just maybe a step above Goff, even though Goff did beat Stafford in the playoffs this year. I think that was more of the Detroit Magic. Number 7, I have Dak. I think he gets a lot of hate for no reason. He's a really good quarterback. Number 6, I have Tua. Super accurate, surgical with his dissection of defenses. Just great quarterback overall. I think the only hit you can have on him is the argument about the X factor. I think he cleans up the fourth quarter 2-minute drill a little bit, and I think he'd be a top 5 quarterback this year.
10, I've got Justin Herbert. Obviously, physical traits off the wall, shown a lot of potential. I think with Harbaugh coming in, I think he's going to get even better. So I've got him at 10, Aaron Rodgers at 9. Again, he's just the biggest question mark. It's like, he could be a top 5 quarterback or outside the top 15. He's 40, coming back from injury and playing for the Jets, but he's also Aaron Rodgers. 8, Brock Purdy. I don't think you can legitimately say anything bad about him. He makes the plays. He makes great reads. He's in control of the game. He steps up when the game matters most. He has the respect of his team, is what you want in a quarterback. So it doesn't matter if it was the 3rd pick or the 272nd pick, 262nd pick, Mr. Irrelevant. So for that reason, Brock Purdy 8. 7, I've got Dak Prescott. I think he's a great quarterback. Same could be said with the Tua argument that he needs to rise to the occasion a little bit more, but I don't know if that's Dallas or him. I think that he's got a lot of talent and he gets hate for really no reason. I don't understand it. Then 6, I've got Kirk Cousins. I had originally, when I was making this list, put him lower because I don't know, I wrote him off with the injury. But if you look at the stats over the last several years, he's always in the top 5. He's a great quarterback. I think the Vikings should bring him back and he's going to have a great season next year.
Yep. I got Kirk Cousins at number 5 for me. He's always a top 5 quarterback when he plays a full season. Yeah, I think he's a solid number 5. Number 4, I've got Lamar Jackson. Obviously, great quarterback, won the MVP this year. I think it hurts a little bit for me that the playoff deal, unfortunately, is coming true. They haven't not been able to make it in the playoffs yet. I think that's hurting where I put him in these rankings. Hopefully, they can get over that bump because he plays amazing in the regular season. Number 3, I've got Josh Allen. He's gotten over that bump, but he hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl yet, which is a big leap there. So I've got him at number 3. The next 2 guys have made that jump. Joe Burrow, number 2. He's coming off of an injury, but I'm pretty confident that Joe Burrow is going to come back strong from this one. He's got a good team around him. Him and Jamar Chase, crazy chemistry, and I think they might make a little run this year. And then number 1, obviously we have Patrick Mahomes. Not much to say there. I don't think much needs to be said. He's a clear-cut number 1.
5 for me, I've got Matthew Stafford here. I think he's getting old, but he's a really good quarterback. And 5 was honestly the trickiest spot for me because there's the clear-cut top 4, and then it's like who fills in at number 5. I'm not sure. Don't feel amazing at having him at 5, but that made the most sense, so I'm rolling with it. 4, I've actually got Josh Allen here. Again, 3 and 4 are interchangeable. Going 3, Lamar Jackson, flipping it. Either one works to me. Then 2, Joe Burrow, clear cut number 2. 1, Patrick Mahomes, clear cut number 1. To me, the top 4 are a league above the next wave, which in some ways, 5 to 13 are about a wave, you know? We clearly have a few discrepancies on our list. Brock Purdy, Tua as one big one.
2 outside of the top 10 is crazy, in my opinion.
I have him at 11 and you put Purdy at 10.
Yeah.
It's essentially, where do you have... Anyway, very comparable in the opposite direction. Here's my thought. I say we take these lists, we carry it to next episode, and we start going in on each other's
With
list.
a little ammo. I think you're just nervous that you don't have enough ammo, and you're going to go look up a bunch of stats because you know I'm not going to do a bunch of homework.
Not my problem.
I got it all right here. It's all good.
I'm just so confident in the actual game talking that I want more stats, more ammunition because I'm like, it's there. Maybe you're just a better arguer than me.
I think we all know
giving you
that's
that. You're not a better
true,
arguer. That's a lie. That's stupid. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's do our draft. Our quarterbacks by decades. We got the 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts, the 10s. I got the first pick too. So I'm going to go. Oh man, it's kind of tricky. Give me Peyton Manning as the quarterback for the aughts for me.
For the what?
The 2000s.
What'd you call him?
The aughts.
What does that mean?
It's like a name for the zeros, essentially. Aughts. It's like AUGHT.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Sorry, I'm just
I
smart.
thought you were saying the alts, like ALT, like the alternative
Alts.
rock years.
Nah, 2000s for you.
You got 2000s. Peyton
Manning.
All right, that's a good pick. That is not where I thought you were gonna go.
Does that mean you wanted me to go somewhere else?
No, it just means I was not prepared for you to do that. Oh man,
I wasn't either, to be honest.
wow. All right, I'm going 2010s. I'm going Brady, going the number 1 quarterback of all time, the GOAT.
Yeah, it would have been a mistake if you gave me Peyton Manning.
I couldn't do that.
Brady.
I honestly thought you were going to pick Brady, number 1.
I thought about it, but I'm like, dude, Peyton Manning in strict just quarterback terms was so good.
I agree. And I was definitely going to take Manning number 2. But I'm super happy with Brady. Don't worry. All right, Brady 2010s. I'm going the GOAT, and then I'm going the GOAT before the GOAT was the GOAT. Joe Montana 1980s.
That one sucks.
Brady and Montana.
Oh man,
this is tough, and it's a weird draft because you could still. I don't know. Weird draft.
Well, that was the thing with me of the Brady piece. It's like we're going solely by decade. Right. And so Brady's obviously the GOAT, but I'm like in just if I'm building a new team in the 2010s or the 2000s, it's like hard to not want Peyton Manning as my quarterback.
Peyton Manning, and I know we probably have some younger listeners that don't remember Peyton Manning playing actually at a high level. Dude was ridiculous. And him and Brady were battling, and they were the 2 best players on the field every time. Through that whole span of the 2000s, they were the 2 best. And I don't think you can go wrong with either of them there.
I'm going to go with, I got 70s and 90s. 70s, Roger Staubach. than 90s Steve Young.
Boy. Joe.
Who are you going to go over him?
You know I got to go Uncle Dan. 1990s.
But you're putting him in the 90s.
1990s.
He's way better in the 80s.
But he was still really good in the 90s.
But you also really messed me up because I was hoping to get him in the 80s.
Yeah, Joe, you can't let me get Uncle Dan.
Dude, he was way better in the 80s.
I know he was, but I wanted Montana in the 80s. Theoretically, I would have loved to have Marino's. I think it was 83 or 84 season where he threw for over 5,000. But 90s Marino was still a beast. No problem there. So I got 90s Marino, and I've got... Let me get aughts. Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I think that's the third best quarterback
that's the
in
right
the 2000s.
answer.
And we already have Brady and Manning, so. And
No,
Brees,
that's
Brees
the right
had
answer.
a lot of records before Tom Brady came in and took him away.
He still has a completion percentage, I believe, right?
Yeah, Brees was really good. In any other era, he would be a top 2 quarterback.
I agree. Okay, I'm going to go with 2010s, I'll go Aaron Rodgers, and then 80s John Elway.
Nice. Elway was good. Dude.
I mean, but it's the third bet. It's the Drew Brees situation because it's like obviously it goes Montana, Marino. I think Elway's 3.
He was better in the 90s
You know what I
too,
mean?
wasn't he?
Same with Brees.
Or was that 80s?
I think it was more 80s.
All right, my last pick, 70s, and I'm kind of surprised you left him up here. Terry Bradshaw. Beast.
I just feel like Roger was better. But I mean,
I don't know, man. Four Super Bowls. Scary Terry. Dang, dude, you let me get my number 1 on everything but the 2000s.
Oh, so my ones were Roger Staubach, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I feel like this was a good pick to have second.
Yeah. I mean,
seriously,
I think so. Because if you would have picked Brady at number 1, I don't know. Yeah, if you would have picked Brady at number 1, I would have still gone Marino, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was you,
I mean, if I did Brady's,
if I were you, I would have done Brady's 2010s at number 1.
I just thought you would go Peyton Manning 2000s before I got the shot.
I sat down today and for 30 minutes probably, I schemed like what I thought you would pick number 1, and every scenario came out with Brady or Montana, and I did not see you picking Peyton Manning. But I'm not mad you did, because I like how it played out. Before we leave, I want to hear you say whose team you think is better. Honest opinion.
I mean, honest opinion, you.
Thank you.
You have Brady and Montana.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like the Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, that's like a wash.
Probably a wash, but
to me.
I think Staubach's a pretty close second.
Okay. It's very arguable. I obviously took it one way, you took it the other way. Whatever. 80s, Joe Montana's a clear cut there. I did not think you were going to get Dan Marino in the 90s. That's where the draft went awry.
Didn't think that. Were you going to pick him in the 80s?
Yeah. And I wasn't even thinking about him in the 90s because I'm like, nah, dude, like, if we're being honest, in the 90s, Steve Young, I thought Brett Favre might even come in, Troy Aikman. The two of them, I think, were probably better in the 90s than Dan Marino.
What are you going off of?
A little bit of memory.
Bro, you're 1 year old. 1 through 4.
Was it 1 year?
Yeah, we'll have to look up some stats and talk about it later, but maybe on the next episode we'll bring some stats about the quarterbacks too. For our
next episode, we're just going to argue
our top
about all
15 and then our
57
all-time quarterback team. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
Good stuff.
Pete.